In a move that has created tensions across the international business community, the Chinese government has just announced unprecedented sanctions against several U.S. tech giants, citing an outstanding debt of a staggering $1 trillion. The sheer scale of these sanctions is unparalleled in modern trade history, and the implications for global business and diplomatic relations are profound. To understand the genesis of this conflict, one must look back at the evolving trade dynamics between the two global superpowers over the last few decades. American tech companies have enjoyed a significant presence in the Chinese market, benefiting from both its vast consumer base and its robust manufacturing infrastructure. This symbiotic relationship was primarily facilitated through a network of complex financial and trade agreements. However, beneath the surface, tensions have been simmering. Issues of intellectual property theft, trade imbalances, and concerns over cybersecurity have frequently cropped up in bilateral discussions. Yet, the revelation of an unpaid $1 trillion debt is an entirely new dimension to this complicated relationship. Details on the composition of the $1 trillion figure remain scanty. Analysts speculate that it encompasses a combination of alleged unpaid taxes, fines for non-compliance with local regulations, accumulated royalties from intellectual properties, and other dues that China claims have been disregarded by these tech giants over the years. While the exact breakdown of this colossal sum might remain shrouded in ambiguity, its announcement has certainly grabbed global attention. The sheer scale suggests that this isn't a mere negotiation tactic, but a pronounced statement of discontent by Beijing. The direct consequences for the implicated U.S. tech companies are potentially disastrous. China is a significant market for many of these entities, and the sanctions could drastically affect their revenue, stock prices, and global operations. Companies like Apple, which rely on China for both sales and a vast portion of their supply chain, could see significant disruptions. The same goes for firms like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon, which have invested billions in capturing the Chinese market and establishing a supply chain nexus. Furthermore, these sanctions could also impact hundreds of smaller U.S. tech firms and startups that might not be direct targets but could suffer collateral damage due to the intertwined nature of the tech ecosystem. This isn't just a bilateral U.S.-China issue. The sanctions have ramifications for the global tech industry. Supply chains across the world are intricately linked, and disruptions in China could lead to ripple effects impacting tech manufacturing globally. Countries and businesses that rely on these tech giants for critical infrastructure, software, and hardware might find themselves caught in the crossfire. The European Union, India, Japan, and South Korea, among others, will be closely watching the developments. Any prolonged conflict could force these nations to recalibrate their tech dependencies and alliances. On the diplomatic front, this escalation further strains an already tense U.S.-China relationship. The last few years have witnessed a hardening of stances on both sides, with trade wars, tech bans, and territorial disputes. This new development might just push the diplomatic ties to a new low. As the news of China's unprecedented sanctions reverberated across the globe, key stakeholders began weighing in, highlighting the vast complexities of the issue. Major international business councils, traditionally silent on political matters, expressed deep concern over the possible long-term disruptions to global trade. Wall Street responded predictably, with significant declines in tech stock prices. Investor sentiments seem to mirror the broader fears. If China and the U.S., two of the world's largest economies, can't resolve their differences amicably, what hope is there for the stability of the global economic order? Moreover, experts in international relations also sounded the alarm. The escalation of this magnitude in the U.S.-China tech conflict marks a deviation from conventional trade disagreements. The integration of geopolitics with business is not new, but the scale of this rift indicates a deep-seated power struggle reflecting ambitions, fears, and strategies beyond mere economic interests. One of the most pressing concerns for the sanctioned tech companies and the international community is the verification of China's claim. How is this enormous $1 trillion figure reached without transparent documentation and a clear breakdown? Suspicions linger over the validity of such a vast sum. the call for a neutral third-party audit has gained traction in various quarters. International bodies like the World Trade Organization could potentially mediate, ensuring that claims and counterclaims are examined impartially. While the U.S. government has not yet announced any countermeasures, there's widespread speculation about potential retaliation. Would the U.S. respond with equivalent sanctions on Chinese tech companies? Could there be a broader economic response that targets other sectors of the Chinese economy? Such a move would undoubtedly lead to further escalation, intensifying the trade war and potentially causing harm to global economic stability. A tit-for-tat approach, while tempting for its symmetrical nature, might not be the most strategic response in an already charged environment. One possible path out of this impasse might be multilateral discussions. Given the global implications of the US-China tech conflict, other major economies could play a role in mediating a solution. The G7 or G20 summits, for instance, might provide platforms for dialogue, ensuring that the broader interests of the global community are taken into account. Additionally, tech and trade associations across the world could serve as channels for dialogue, emphasizing the importance of collaboration over confrontation in the technology domain. The tech sector thrives on cooperation, shared innovation, and open markets, principles that are at risk if such massive conflicts are allowed to fester. As the magnitude of China's sanctions sinks in, global markets and industry stakeholders are beginning to grapple with the potentially far-reaching economic consequences. The tech sector, deeply entwined with almost every industry today, is a linchpin for modern economies. The ripple effects of these sanctions could reverberate far beyond Silicon Valley boardrooms and Beijing's political corridors. The automotive industry, for instance, which has become increasingly reliant on tech components for electric and autonomous vehicles, may face significant disruptions. Shortages or price hikes in components due to the sanctions could stall production lines, affect vehicle launches, or lead to increased consumer prices. Similarly, the consumer electronics sector could be in jeopardy. Companies that depend on U.S. tech giants for software, microchips, or other integral components may need to reevaluate their production timelines and pricing strategies. From smart refrigerators to wearable tech, the vast expanse of consumer goods might feel the pinch. Financial markets, always sensitive to geopolitical tensions, are in turmoil. Investors are scrambling to reevaluate portfolios, hedge against uncertainties, and anticipate further developments. Tech stocks, particularly those directly impacted by the sanctions, are bearing the brunt of this volatility. However, broader indices in sectors interconnected with tech are also witnessing fluctuations. With the US and China at loggerheads, third countries find themselves in a precarious position. Nations like India, Brazil, and members of the European Union with substantial trade ties to both superpowers face a dual challenge. They must navigate potential supply chain disruptions while also balancing diplomatic ties. Some countries might see this as an opportunity, with tech giants potentially looking to diversify their operations away from China. Nations with robust manufacturing capabilities and friendly trade relations with the US might court these companies. Incentives, tax breaks, and streamlined regulations could be on offer, luring tech companies to set up shop and in turn bolstering local economies. The ongoing US-China tech standoff might very well redefine the future of the global tech landscape. The long-held belief in a borderless digital world is being challenged. Tech companies may have to navigate a future where geopolitical divisions translate into digital and technological barriers. Diversification might become the new mantra, with companies keen to spread their operational risks across multiple geographies. Emphasis on self-reliance, localizing research and development, and forging new regional partnerships could shape corporate strategies in the coming years. The escalating tensions between the US and China, epitomized by these staggering sanctions, are a stark reminder of the complexities of the modern, globalized world. Economic interdependencies, while fostering growth and cooperation, also come with vulnerabilities. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Until next time, take care.